Today we have two CWL bases for you guys, starting off with this base here, which I love the way this base is set up with the dead spaces in the core and the town hall offset to the right. It's going to make it tricky for the pathing, especially with the Tesla farm on the outside. And don't forget, if you guys want to give these bases a try for yourself, the link will be down in the description below. With that, let's take a look at a replay. Starting off with a replay on this base, it is going to be a Root Rider attack. Let's see how this base holds up. There we do have, let's see where he's going to start off. He's got a furnace at the bottom side of the base. Okay. So trying to use the furnace for a little bit of a funneling. I think that's actually the first time I've seen that. And now we got the Royal Champion charge from the left side, moving in towards that gear tower. And the Expo next invis is actually a little bit off. Gets the next one in. There we go. And he does not have the Fox on the RC, so it's just back-to-back invis and eventually a recall. But the Expo will go down. She'll move on. She actually goes up to the air defense. She's skipping the gear tower, which is super unfortunate for him. But he pops the RC's ability, getting her through the scatter shot. Not quite getting the value he was looking for, but she's still going to get a few decent buildings here. He's going to go with the last invis, I guess, to make sure he gets that multi-mortar. There we go. She's going to go with the recall, pulls the RC back out of there. And didn't really get too much of a funnel with the furnace on the bottom. I guess it is still technically working on it. So I guess the furnace should be able to get the funnel. And now we got that cannon picking off the fire mites. They're not going to really do anything from here. We got the queen from the left corner. Here we go. Queen will be able to work through some of these buildings. And I'd imagine the Root Riders are going to go right through the scatter shot here on the bottom left side. We got the Ice Golem in. We got the Root Riders full sending it from the left. We got the Warden in with the Rage Gem. Here we go. We actually have the Yak on the King, which I'm not sure why you would bring the Yak on a Root Rider attack, but okay. Troop Launcher in from the left as well. Queen will grab that gear tower that the Royal Champion happened to miss. Root Riders still pushing their way into the base. Let's see how well they make it through. And also, when you're considering using these bases, you also want to pay attention to what is being used in the defensive clan castle. We haven't really seen the pull yet. I don't believe the RC has pulled it out anyway. But she's moving back in, and here we go. Now we can see what's in the clan castle. It's going to be the furnace with the ice golems there. The Royal Champion goes down very quickly to that monolith, so she's not going to be a much help over there. But with the Phoenix, she is able to get the monolith down, so that's good. Got the Giga Bomb going off, Town Hall shots coming in. The ice golems making their way to the main group of troops here. The furnace still sending out its fire mites on defense as well. Alright, but the troops are still looking pretty healthy at this point. We've got a few cleanup troops on the outside with the Barbarian King on that right. He's got the Yak and the Root Riders, and he's still managed to make his way to the outside of the base. Pops his ability, Earthquake Boots, open everything up. The Yak has gone down, the Town Hall has gone down. There's really not a lot left of this base, but that Fire Spitter, Expo, and Prince combo is doing a lot of damage, and these troops are quickly fizzling out. And just like that, everything in the core is dead. The healers are still there, but they're trying their best to keep this queen left alive. We're going to speed this up just a little bit. The queen's the only thing left. This is going to be a defense. Let's look at one more replay. The second replay for this base is going to be another Root Rider attack and another RC charge from the left, but this time a little bit of a different approach, starting off with the Rocket Spear as the RC makes her way in, going to pick off these multi-archer towers and then hopefully go for, well, hopefully for the attacker anyway, go for that gear tower. She's moving in. There's the first invis, and this time around she paths perfectly in for that gear tower to get it out of the way, makes it invisible. The boots will finish it off. She moves into the Expo. We got a Tesla popping up. It's going to make sure that the RC does go to the left and away from that monolith. Now that monolith is going to be a very tricky one to actually get with a Royal Champion charge. The RC will continue moving in, go towards that scatter shot on the top side of the base. He still has a bunch of invis left to use. And this time around, he's not going for the recall. So whatever the RC gets is whatever she gets. And that's going to be it. Actually, still might have a recall. I can't see the rest of the spells there through my webcam. But we'll see what he ends up doing here as the RC is still moving through. Gets through the ricochet cannon. Getting that cannon down is always nice value. Next invis is down. Interesting placement there. And she walks right out of it. Down she goes to Phoenix. So she's not going to be getting recalled at this point. And that's going to be pretty much a wrap for the RC. She did get a good bit of value. She's got a couple of spells still to work with. Queen comes in with a giant arrow and a siege barracks to help set the funnel. And then this time around, we're going to see the Root Riders coming in from the top right side of the base. So kind of the opposite of what we've seen in the last attack. Let's see how this one works out. That Phoenix is actually going to get that Fire Spitter out of the core of the base as well, which is really nice, although he would have been coming in behind that Fire Spitter anyway, so not terribly helpful here. Root Riders making their way in. We got an early rage spell to push them into the base. Okay. Pop the King's ability. Again, we see the Yak. Is that a common thing in Legend League? Here we go. Everything's moving in. I guess this would be a war attack, not Legend League. Queen's still walking the outside of the base. We did pop the Warden's ability to keep everything protected through the middle of the base. Again, we got that furnace, but this time around, I believe the poison got dropped on the clan castle. Monolith still popping off. Troops still pushing through, still looking healthy. But again, that fire spitter does so much damage, especially when in a base like this. You have everything so concentrated together that fire spitter can just fire away and absolutely hammers these troops. Now we got the tornado going off. We got the giant bombs going off, doing even more damage. The fire spitter will go down. This one is getting kind of close. Actually, no, the fire spitter's not going to go down. It was just the king over there. And he is struggling. He's beating on the walls. We still have the queen on the outside of the base, but the ricochet cannon is going to do some damage to her. The enemy queen's going to be a problem for her. The king did finally get the fire spitter down, but now he's going to be stuck on a wall. And this one is running out of time. I don't think this is... No, this is not going to be a time fail. The queen goes down to the expo. The king's going to go down to the scatter, and it's going to be another nice defense. And here we go with base number 2 for today. This one's got a very stacked front end where the town hall is at. It's going to be a difficult area to funnel. And then we have a stacked back end as well. Also going to be tricky to funnel, and a lot of DPS on the back side and the front side of this base. Let's take a look at a couple of replays and see how this one holds up. And here we go with the first replay for base number 2. We've got the Royal Champion Charge from the right side of the base. Rocket Spear starting it off. Queen with a giant arrow from the top side of the base. Gets some pretty decent value, and then hopefully she can get that funnel set for the dragons as they make their way in. RC still going, starting to drop the invis for her. Next invis in. The Tesla, however, kind of pulls her out of that invis, so he's going to have to drop in another one. Then she goes back up out of that invis as well. So the pathing here, not ideal for the RC, but finally he's got her in a good spot here. She can get the fire spitter out of the way. Drops in another invis to push her to the town hall. Queen's still going strong on the top side as well, but he's going to use an invis for her to get that damage from the ricochet cannon. Like I said, stacked damage on both sides of this base. So both these heroes kind of struggling a bit, but the RC still getting good value. The queen, however, not so much. She didn't really finish that funnel, so we'll see if that's going to come back to bite him here a little bit later on. But for now, we got the dragons coming in. We got triple Ice Golem CC. And again, the links for these bases are down below. If you guys do use them, be sure to leave us a comment. Let us know how they do. Dragons are moving in. They're going to take out these Ice Golems, and that's going to stall them up for a bit. Luckily, they are kind of outside of the range of any major defenses here, aside from that multi-archer tower. But they're not going to have to worry about taking too much damage. It's just going to slow them down a bit is all. He also did drop one dragon to try to finish up that funnel on the top side of the base, so hopefully that's enough to keep the dragons from going to the outside. He's going to freeze. He is flying the dragon straight into a sweeper and a fire spitter, so a couple of dangerous things here for the dragons. We got the Giga Bomb going off, tornado trap spinning dragons around, but the rest of the dragons going to the top side, going to that outside edge, and then that's the issue with not getting the proper funnel set. Got, well, just one more dragon left in the core of the base. The rest of it's just going to be the prince trying to work through some of these defenses. Gets through the sweeper, working on the fire spitter. I think the prince should be able to get that down. He does just barely get the fire spitter out of the way, but that scatter shot finishes them off, and now we have just the remaining dragons that went to the outside of the base because the funnel wasn't properly set. Because it's tricky to do on this base, especially when you're trying to funnel the front end and the back end of this base. It makes it very difficult. But the dragons are going to make their way through. We've got the scatter shot, archer queen, air defense combo waiting for them in this last little compartment here. The last major compartment, I should say. There we go. The dragons are making their way in. The queen's popping off. Scatter shot's popping off. See how quickly these dragons go down. There goes one. The queen goes down. The scatter shot. We're going to continue getting a few shots in, but the dragons will get to it relatively quickly. There we go. They're going to move in, start working on the scatter shot, and then after that, it's just going to be down to the air defense to slowly but surely pick these dragons away. We'll see if it's going to be effective enough here to get it done. There goes another dragon from the bottom side. We got 3 left, and then the air defense. There goes another one. We got traps popping up, and that's going to be a defense for this base. Let's hop into one last replay. All right, last replay for this video, the second one for this base. It's going to be Super Yeti Smash on this one. Not an attack we see super often, but let's see how it does against this. So we'll see where he's going to start off the attack here. And here we go. We got Super Yetis. He's just going to spread them out along the bottom right side of the base. A quick blimp to the Town Hall. He's got some Root Riders in the mix. Interesting. I think he might have taken the wrong Warden ability there. He had a little Fireball in the Rage Gem. It looked like he was trying to catch the blimp in the Eternal Tome. I don't know what was going on there, but The Yetis are pushing into the core nicely. Actually, look at him there. He's got the clones there as well, so that's helping out quite a bit. We got Super Yetis on the right side, Super Yetis on the bottom. They're all going to be kind of splitting up because of these dead spaces inside of the middle of the base. They don't really have anywhere else to go. That one Multi-Inferno staying alive. That Minion Prince on defense getting a lot of value in, but the Royal Champion does finish him off. We have some Super Yetis in the RC on the top side. We're going to focus in here on the King and Queen with looks like at least one Super Yeti on the bottom side of the base. Regular Yetis going down. We got Yeti Mites hopping around. That last Root Rider goes down, so there's no more wall opening for these troops to help out. And then, like I said, the back end of this base is stacked, so it's going to be very difficult for these troops to make their way through. Snakes hopping the walls. Everything's beating walls. I think the troops on the top side have gone down already. We'll have to zoom out here shortly and take a look at them and see how they're doing. The Warden goes down to the multi-archer tower. We also have that Monolith still lurking in there. 2 multi-archer towers here. It's going to be very difficult. And then there's that third one on the other side of the Monolith as well. And yes, those troops on the top side have gone down already. We still have that Ricochet cannon, and that's just going to be way too much for these troops to handle. So this is going to be yet another good defense for this base. Be sure to check out the WBB socials on screen. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll catch you all next time.